Welcome back. Sometimes we got to tackle topics that are a little bit delicate.
Yeah.
And today is one of those days we're diving deep into vaginal health.
Ooh, exciting.
I know, right? It's something that, well, everyone should be informed about, but it doesn't always get the attention it deserves.
Right.
For this deep dive, we're going to be looking at a YouTube video by Dr. David. He's a reproductive health expert, and he really breaks down the things that we should avoid putting in our vaginas.
It's a really informative video. I mean, I learned a lot. And, he starts by talking about, the design of the vagina itself.
Yeah, he really emphasizes that it's an internal organ, and that kind of changes how we think about taking care of it, right?
Absolutely. And one of the things that makes the vagina so amazing is that it's naturally acidic.
Oh, right.
It has a pH of 4.5 or less, which helps protect it from, harmful bacteria and all that.
It's like it has its own cleaning system.
Exactly. It's like a self-cleaning oven or something.
I love that analogy. So the vagina is this amazing self-sufficient organ, but then Dr. David goes on to list all these things that people put in there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of wild. Like, where do people even get these ideas?
I know. It's a mix of old wives' tales, misinformation online, and sometimes just plain curiosity.
So let's break it down. What's the first thing on Dr. David's list?
Well, he starts with oils and lubricants,
Okay, that makes sense.
but he specifically warns against using things like petroleum jelly.
Wait, really? Vaseline?
Yeah, Vaseline. I know it seems harmless, right?
Yeah, I mean, people use it for everything.
I know. But the problem is that petroleum jelly can actually disrupt the vagina's natural balance.
Oh, okay.
It can mess with the good bacteria that live there, the normal flora.
The good guys.
Yeah, the good guys. And that can make you more susceptible to infections and stuff.
So it's kind of like we're throwing off the ecosystem.
Exactly. It's like introducing an invasive species.
Wow, okay. So no petroleum jelly. What about other oils?
Well, he also mentions coconut oil.
Really? Coconut oil? I feel like that's become like a cure-all for everything these days.
I know, right? But Dr. David says it's not good for the vagina either.
Why is that?
It can actually, it can disrupt the pH balance and make you more prone to infections too.
Huh. Interesting. So we got to be careful with those oils.
Definitely.
And you mentioned lubricants earlier. What about those?
Well, there are lubricants that are specifically designed for vaginal health. Those are okay to use.
Okay, so we just got to make sure we're using the right kind.
Exactly. Read the labels carefully and look for products that are, pH balanced and free of fragrances and dyes.
Got it. No petroleum jelly, no coconut oil, and make sure to use a good lubricant. What's next on Dr. David's list?
The next one is hygiene. And this is where he really gets passionate.
Oh, okay.
He's totally against douching.
Douching?
Yeah, like using those prepackaged washes or even just water to clean inside the vagina.
I have to admit, I used to think douching was necessary.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Just to keep things clean and fresh. But Dr. David says it's a big no-no.
Huge no-no. The vagina is actually self-cleaning.
Really? It can take care of itself.
Absolutely. It has its own natural way of maintaining a healthy balance. And when you douche, you're basically disrupting that balance. You're washing away the good bacteria and creating an environment where harmful bacteria can thrive.
So it's kind of counterproductive.
Exactly.
Okay, no douching. What about cleaning the outside? Is regular soap and water enough?
Yeah, that's all you need. Just mild, unscented soap and water for the vulva, which is the external part.
Got it. Gentle cleansing on the outside. Okay, so we've covered oils, lubricants, and douching. What else does Dr. David talk about?
Okay, so this next one is where things get a little interesting.
Interesting.
He brings up food.
Wait, food? Like eating food?
No, like putting food in the vagina.
Like what kind of food?
All sorts of things.
Yeah.
He mentions ice cream, yogurt, chocolate, even fruits like bananas and cucumbers.
You're kidding. Why would anyone put food in their vagina?
I honestly don't know. I think some people believe it has health benefits, while others might be experimenting with different sensations.
Okay, well, regardless of the reason, why is it a bad idea?
Well, for starters, food can disrupt the vaginal pH, just like oils.
Right.
But you're also introducing all sorts of foreign substances that can irritate the delicate tissues down there.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
You could end up with infections, allergic reactions, all sorts of problems.
Okay, food is definitely off the menu. What about spices?
She mentions those too. Garlic, onions, ginger, cinnamon, you name it.
Wow, the variety is impressive.
It is, but again, it's not a good idea. Spices can be just as irritating as food, And they can also disrupt the vaginal pH.
So basically, anything that's not specifically designed for vaginal use is a no-no.
Pretty much.
We've covered oils, douching, foods, spices. What else is on this list?
Well, he also talks about alum. Alum.
Mm.
It's like a powdery substance that some women use for, tightening.
Tightening, like to make the vagina feel tighter. I've heard of that. But Dr. David doesn't seem to be a fan. Why not?
Well, it's not really a true tightening. What alum does is it kind of dries out the tissues and makes them shrink temporarily.
So it's like a quick fix.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But the problem is it can actually be really harmful.
Harmful. How so?
It can cause a lot of irritation and even damage the delicate lining of the vagina. Think of it like using a really strong astringent on your face.
Mm-hmm.
It might make your pores look smaller for a bit, but it's not good for your skin in the long run.
Right, right. So using alum for tightening is like a trade-off. You might get a temporary effect, but you risk damaging the tissues.
Exactly. And the irony is that over time, using alum can actually lead to loosening of the vaginal tissues.
Oh, wow. So it's counterproductive.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like our bodies are pretty amazing on their own. We don't need to resort to these extreme measures.
I totally agree. The vagina is designed to stretch and accommodate all sorts of things. There's no need to try and force it to be something it's not.
Well said. Okay, so we've covered oils, douching, food, spices, and now alum. What else is on Dr. David's list of no-nos?
He also talks about soaps and perfumes.
Soaps and perfumes.
Yep. And this one might seem obvious, but it's worth repeating.
Yeah.
Anything that's not specifically made for the vagina should stay far, far away from it.
You'd think that would be common sense, but you'd be surprised.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But so many people use regular soap or even body wash to clean their vagina.
And what's the issue with that?
Well, those products often have harsh chemicals, fragrances, and dyes that can mess with the pH balance of the vagina.
Oh, right, because the vagina is naturally acidic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And using those harsh soaps can strip away that protective layer, making you more vulnerable to infections.
So what about those feminine washes? I see ads for them all the time. They claim to keep you fresh and clean down there.
Yeah, those are a big culprit in perpetuating the myth that vaginas are inherently dirty or smelly. A healthy vagina has its own natural scent, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's like we're being conditioned to think that our bodies are somehow wrong or inadequate.
Right. And then we need to buy all these products to fix them. But the truth is, our bodies are pretty incredible. We just need to trust them.
I love that. Trusting our bodies. So no harsh soaps, no feminine washes. What about something like saliva? It's natural, right?
Well, even though saliva is natural, it can still introduce bacteria from the mouth into the vagina, and that can lead to infections.
Really? I never would have thought of that.
It's something to be mindful of. The vagina is a delicate ecosystem, and we need to be careful about what we introduce into it.
This is all so fascinating. I feel like we're really busting some myths today.
I know, it's amazing how much misinformation is out there.
Okay, so we've covered soaps, perfumes, and saliva. Anything else?
Well, Dr. David also talks about how some of these practices can actually affect fertility.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, he specifically mentions coconut oil. A lot of women use it as a lubricant, but it can actually create an environment that's hostile to sperm.
So if you're trying to get pregnant, coconut oil is a no-go.
Exactly.
Are there any other practices that can impact fertility?
He also mentions douching. Frequent douching can alter the vaginal environment and make it more difficult for sperm to survive.
It's amazing how everything is connected, you know. Our choices about hygiene and what we put into our bodies can have far-reaching effects.
Absolutely. It's all about taking a holistic approach to our health.
This whole conversation has really got me thinking about how we often approach vaginal health from this mindset of needing to fix or cleanse it. But Dr. Davis' video really emphasizes that the vagina is an internal organ that knows how to take care of itself.
I know, right? It's like a paradigm shift. Instead of seeing our bodies as something to be controlled or manipulated, we can start to see them as these amazing self-regulating systems.
That's a powerful way to look at it.
And it's so liberating. It frees us from all those societal pressures and expectations.
Speaking of expectations, Dr. David also shares a story about a patient whose husband complained about her using a cucumber for sexual gratification.
Yeah, that anecdote really highlighted how these practices can sometimes be tied to relationship issues or even self-esteem.
It's like we're constantly bombarded with messages about what's considered normal or acceptable, and that can really mess with our sense of self.
Absolutely. It's important to remember that there's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to sexuality. What matters most is that you're comfortable and happy with your own choices.
So if we zoom out from all the specifics, what are the big takeaways here? What do we really need to know about keeping our vaginas healthy?
I think the most important thing is to respect our bodies and their natural processes. The vagina is incredibly resilient. It has its own built-in mechanisms for cleaning and maintaining a healthy balance. We don't need to interfere with that.
So no douching, no harsh soaps, no foreign objects, and definitely no food or spices.
Exactly. And if you have any concerns, the best thing to do is talk to a healthcare professional. They can give you personalized advice and address any questions you might have.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I feel like I've learned so much about a topic that's often shrouded in secrecy and shame.
It's been a pleasure to break it all down with you. I hope it empowers our listeners to take charge of their vaginal health and feel confident in their own bodies.
Before we wrap up, I have one last thought to throw out there. If our vaginas are so good at taking care of themselves, why do we feel this constant need to interfere with them? Is it just marketing, or is there something deeper going on?
Ooh, that's a great question. And I think it's a complex one. I think it's a combination of things, you know.
Like what?
Well, there's definitely a lot of cultural baggage around women's bodies. For centuries, women have been told that their bodies are somehow unclean or shameful. And that message is still very much present in our society today.
So it's not just about hygiene, it's about control and societal expectations.
Exactly. We're constantly bombarded with messages about how we should look, smell, and behave. And those messages can really impact how we feel about ourselves.
It's like we're being sold this idea that our natural state isn't good enough.
Exactly. We're told that we need to buy all these products to fix ourselves. But the truth is, our bodies are perfect just the way they are.
I love that. Our bodies are perfect just the way they are. It's a powerful message.
It is. And I think it's something that all women need to hear. We need to reclaim our bodies and embrace our natural beauty.
Absolutely. And that starts with education and awareness. The more we learn about our bodies, the better equipped we are to make informed choices about our health and well-being.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive into vaginal health. Thank you so much for joining us today. And remember, a healthy vagina is a happy vagina. It's almost like we've been conditioned to think our vaginas are like a problem that needs constant solving.
Right. And that we need all these products and weird solutions.
Exactly. When in reality, Dr. David's video really shows us that, well, the vagina is pretty amazing at taking care of itself.
It is. It really is. So it makes you wonder, why do we feel this, I don't know, this urge to mess with it?
Right. Like, is it all just clever marketing? Or is there, like, something deeper going on here?
I think it's a bit of both, to be
Yeah.
honest. You can't deny that there's a huge industry built around, feminine hygiene products.
Oh, absolutely.
But I also think it goes deeper than that. There's this whole cultural history of, well, kind of viewing women's bodies as something to be controlled, something to be sanitized.
Yeah, I see that. Like, we're supposed to fit into this mold, right?
Exactly. And that mold often prioritizes,
Right.
male pleasure and kind of ignores what actually feels good and healthy for women.
It's like we've internalized this message that our natural state isn't, like, good enough.
It's so true. And it's sad because it leads to all this shame and insecurity.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
constantly being told that we need to be tighter, smell sweeter, basically, like, erase any trace of our natural bodily functions. It's exhausting.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it takes all the joy out of, just being in our bodies.
Yeah.
Think about all those products out there, like those feminine washes that promise to get rid of any odor. Like our natural scent is somehow offensive.
Right.
It's all part of this system, to make us feel insecure. So we'll spend money on things we don't actually need.
It's like we're always trying to fix something that isn't broken.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's time we ditch that mindset.
Yeah. Time to, like, reclaim our bodies,
Yeah.
redefine what it means to be healthy and feel good.
I love that. And that starts with education, learning about our bodies.
Exactly. The more we know, the better choices we can make for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay, so to sum it all up, I think what we've learned from this deep dive is the vagina is not a problem to be solved. It's
Right.
powerful, it's resilient, and it deserves our respect.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Trust your body. Seek out good information.
And if you have any concerns, definitely talk to a healthcare professional.
Always a good idea.
Well, that's it for our deep dive on vaginal health. Thanks for joining us. And remember, a healthy vagina is a happy vagina.